The Big Bad Mood by Tom Jameson and Olga Demidova. George was having one of those days. The sort of day when George shouts, "I will not play nicely." When he stomps, "I will not share my toys." And when he screams, "I won't, I can't, I don't want to, no!" "There's a big bad mood hanging around you today," sighed George's mum. George glanced around. There wasn't a big bad mood anywhere near him, which meant it had to be somewhere else. George looked under his bed. No. At the back of the toy cupboard. No. At the bottom of the garden. No. But he couldn't find the big bad mood, and that made George feel rather big, bad, and moody. So he stomped and stomped until he couldn't stomp any more. And then suddenly, the big bad mood was standing right in front of him. He was a curious fellow, rough like sandpaper and smelling of socks which really needed changing.
"I'm the big bad mood. It's my job to make everyone big, bad and moody, and you can help me."
So the big bad mood grabbed George's hand and off they went to create mischief. First, the big bad mood showed him how to make the world-famous big bad mood sandwich. Special mayonnaise made from the squiggly spiders and the slimiest worms, pickles, cheese, onions, olives, ham, mustard, and a sprinkle of shaved caterpillar legs. Ugh. Then they dressed up Mrs. McTavish's 17 slobbery dogs in her very best clothes and hats, which put Mrs. McTavish in a big bad mood. And her dogs weren't happy either. After that, George and the big bad mood swapped all the park benches with trampolines, which made the old ladies jump. They even filled the local swimming pool with jelly and custard, which made everyone not just big, bad and moody, but a tiny bit delicious as well. George and the big bad mood stomped and shouted until they could stomp and shout no more. Well, maybe just a teensy bit more.
"Brilliant!"
yelled the big bad mood.
"We should do this forever and ever."
But George was starting to think that being big, bad and moody all the time wasn't fun. It was silly and noisy and very tiring. But worst of all, it was making his friends unhappy. Did he want to do this forever? "No thanks," squeaked George.
"No thanks. Why not?"
Because no one will play with me," said George.
"Where I come from, no one bothers with friends."
"But having friends is brilliant," said George.
"No, it's not."
And with that, the big bad mood stomped off. But George didn't follow him. Instead, he cleaned his room from top to bottom. He even found his favourite rocket he thought he'd lost forever. And he said, "Sorry, sorry, sorry." And everyone played happily all afternoon. Now, George mostly has what his mum calls his not too bad at all days. Well done. Here. Whee! But every now and again, when a very special friend visits, George enjoys a big, bad, magnificently moody night.